Hello, hello, this is Frank's Christmas message. I'd like to take you back firstly to February of this year. I just shot a sketch with a friend in London Colney as part of our show What's the Alternative. I was really happy with this piece of work. I thought conceptually it was just on point and the satire was great, and my dancing was pretty good as well, even if I do say so myself. And I showed it, once we'd completed it, I showed to another friend. He was laughing, and just creatively I felt on fire and really happy. When my friend left, I put the news on to the image of tanks rolling into the Ukraine. And I felt awful, a terrible kind of feeling came over me. And I couldn't help reflecting in that moment how in our own lives, when we're very creative or happy at times, the darkness comes along. I guess you all have that experience where things are going really well and then the darkness arrives. So I remember that's the beginning of the year in February. I'd like to move on now to August, when Alexander Usyk, who is from the Ukraine, defended his heavyweight championship title in the boxing world. And I'm a boxing fan, and so I was intrigued to see what would happen. Also, he was fighting Anthony Joshua, who hails from Watford, where my mother comes from, and my grandparents, and where I spent a lot of time in my childhood. So I was interested to see how it would all play out. He defended the title, and the first thing he said in the ring, in front of all these people, was that he wanted to thank his Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. Now, as a Christian myself, when I heard this, it fired me up, and as it does to many believers, to see somebody in the public eye proclaiming their faith, above all else, the first thing that he does, sets the template, and everything else falls down. And that's the way, as we were raised as Christians, that this is the most important thing, and everything else is underneath it. So I couldn't help also thinking how, what a script really, that Ukraine is in the public focus, and here you are, we have a heavyweight champion of the world who's from Ukraine. And as we go forward now into the next year, he's looking to become the undisputed heavyweight champion by fighting another fighter to unify all the belts. So that's interesting to see how that plays out. But back to my own life, I find that as an acupuncturist, I have gone back to my own Christian faith, my Catholic faith, through some of the clients I've had. This year has been marred in my own practice by a particularly challenging client who came to see me for assisted fertility. So those of you who are not aware, in the acupuncture world there is a lot of evidence that acupuncture can help with the IVF protocol that women choose to go through. There's also clinical evidence, of course, that acupuncture helps in other areas such as backache and headache and nausea. And there's constant research going on all the time to back up what we do. But assisted fertility is certainly an area where acupuncture, is recognised to be beneficial. And there was a statistic put out that it increases the chances of becoming pregnant by 20%. So as an acupuncturist, this all has been on my radar. And this year, I took on a client for this purpose. But it was a difficult experience, and I saw this world as quite a sad one. And as part of going through this process, I suddenly thought, what would the Catholic Church think about this? I'd never really, so I looked it up, and I was pleasantly surprised to discover that the Catholic Church teaches that, this is not a good thing, basically. And the reason is that when you start to view life like a product, it takes away the sacredness of life. And I read about it, I prayed about it, and I thought about it, and I decided in the end, I would stop offering this service. And it's something that I'm, confident that I made the right decision for myself. A month or two after this client, I had another young woman who came for natural fertility. So that is to say, she's not having an IVF protocol treat. She's just looking for natural, anything natural that would help her to conceive. And she came to me for acupuncture. And after 4 sessions, she came to tell me that she was indeed pregnant, and she was very grateful, and she was sure that it was the acupuncture that had made the difference for her. So that was towards the end of the year, and it was like a silver lining for me in terms of my practice, and something that I'm very grateful about. Looking forward, this show we've been working on, what I said at the beginning, is we're now looking to put it on as a theatre production in 2023. So that's something to look out for. Also, our band has really come together. We've got a new band member called Ash, who's been a revelation, as well as the old stalwarts of myself, Peter Hopkins, and of course my beautiful wife Suzanne. And I'd like to finish really by emphasising the fact that she did a single recently, just before Christmas, Waiting for the Calm, and it's a beautiful piece of music, inspired in our relationship from, it was inspirational in that. But there's a lovely line in it where she said that she's surrounded by the dark and the light. This is rudimentary spirituality. Darkness, the powers of light and darkness. Like I was saying at the beginning, back in February when I felt that real creativity, I felt really in the light, and then the darkness came. So, for us Christians, we believe Jesus is the light of the world, and but you have to really keep fighting for the light. And that's how I would like to surmise this message as we go into the new year. I wish you all a good year, and I wish you all that you have motivation to fight, to stay in the light. And that doesn't mean necessarily physically like Alexander Usyk is doing, but emotionally, mentally, however you get up and go, that you fight, because we need to fight to stay in the light, and pray that this war in Ukraine will finish and there will be better things coming for everybody. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, and see you all in 2023.